Hey, this is Zen VOD review. Gonna talk about what kind of angles you need to take to control the map better. We'll mention range and off angle specifics. We'll talk about how proper timing and positioning helps you with aiming as well. We'll share some visual examples of it too. And we'll mention some specifics of how to play around threats. Enjoy this video. You try to take more flanks, try to stick to high ground, felt like your timing was constantly over there. So the timing is not a problem too. Did you try to fix that? If yes, then how? Like the timing part.
It felt like one of those games where like it got a little better kind of once we got started, but especially in the beginning, it just felt like there was a lot of like trickling. The best way I figured out to handle it at least a little bit was just to play with them for a little while. And then I tried to take high ground again once we'd sort of stabilized a little bit.
What do you gotta be paying attention to make sure your timing is good?
The tank.
And that's something you want to do from the angle ideally, yeah? So it's not only easier for you to land shots from there, but it can also create more threat potentially. It's always nice. You're taking high ground. This is an off angle. Now, to me, it seems like there should be the next step, which we should take, is take better angles. Just increase the quality of the angles potentially. So this angle here, if we just break down the aiming part, notice where the enemy team is positioned. They all position on the main. Team is coming this way. They just pushing from here, this doorway. Where do you expect the enemy team to aim?
Pretty much at our tank, so closer to me than I would want.
Right, well, sort of, yeah. But usually kind of expect them to aim from this position A to this position B. That is where your team is gonna stay. And because they're trying to aim this way, they're gonna strafe just like that. Because they're trying to shoot what's in front of them. You have to strafe, you need to press A, D keys. This way you can dodge bullets, you can dodge shots. Our idea is to take those kind of positions which helps you to make it easier for you to aim. They're not just dodging your bullets as much. Because now they're gonna AD strafe, maybe you can land some shots. This is like fairly 45 degrees angle. If we've seen where your team is, let's say they're gonna stay at A, and they're gonna apply pressure from there, and then you kind of disposition, let's call it C, then there's like more 45-degree angle. It's still fairly easy to dodge. And think about the positions which we should be taking, easier for you to land shots in this case, so they cannot dodge those as much. What kind of angle is better?
Get into the covered walkway in the middle there. Another thing that I have tried in some games on here is actually further towards the bottom where the hockey player is.
Position number one, if a player near this hockey player here, is it easier for you to aim in this case if the enemy team is gonna strafe just like that?
Yeah.
You on the high ground, it's still kind of gonna be a little bit tough to maybe just aim downwards, but still they're not really strafing against you. That's why it becomes much easier for you to land shots. So your initial positioning, your initial angles, and maybe power positions when you're taking those, think about taking more 90 degrees angles. Basically try to lean towards those because your team gonna be there. All these locations like this one, location 1, location 2. If you are at this position here, that is 90 degrees angle, so you just form this kind of perpendicular angle, and that way it's much easier for you to land shots. It's not that easy for the enemy team to dodge it, and that's something you want to do more. Obviously it's gonna be tough to do it every game, but at least leaning towards this. If you cannot do that, then maybe at least taking this 60 degrees angle. Yeah, maybe like let's say at the start, when your team starting here, you would not just start at a position number one like 90 degree, you would start maybe somewhere here, so it's like maybe 45 60 degrees sort of. You still want to be leaning towards this more, ideally. I think I only used one example for one of my sessions recently, but let's just watch what he does. So we want to think about 90 degrees angles, kind of leaning towards those. So notice he's instantly rotating towards this position. See where his team is fighting? They're fighting here, so this is kind of 45, 60 degrees angle sort of. But then if you expect him to take 90 degrees angle on this group of people, where he should be going?
Further left.
Further left, and that's probably what he is gonna do there. He's starting out there, and then he moves left. It's gonna be much easier for him to aim. So first of all, he's gonna get rid of the Moira. Where she's looking. She's looking right there. His team is walking forward, and that's exactly the angles we want to take. More 90 degrees, just like that. You can look to flank even, just be in the back. That's creating more distraction, but be careful with that. At least starting with 90 degrees angle, so is always nice. Notice the range as well. At what kind of range he's fighting. That is another thing, but we'll discuss it more. So it's not really really long range. It's kind of mid to long range. Yeah, he is not really far because he's aiming with the projectiles. It's just harder to aim from really long distance. And like in your case, you're actually really far from the fight.
Okay.
This can work, but it's not as effective. It's harder to hit the shots from this kind of range. So want to be leaning towards this exactly kind of mid-range fights like I showed there. This example is good. Let's say he's gonna take another fight. The fight is gonna happen right around there, right around this corner. So we expect him to take kind of 90 degrees angles again. If your team is pushing through those gates, usually that's the case here. Your team is gonna be kind of around the payload. Usually, especially at the low ranks, people tend to stack together on the payload too much. At least you expect your main core to be there, so you can move maybe inside this. Because you're there, you look for initial right click, but then because he is there, he can easily get this junk right. Well, he misses the shot, but it still creates a lot of pressure. He actually is gonna kill him. But this is what you're looking for. Exactly 90 degrees angles, just like that mid-range. See what he does constantly with his position, right? How he moves. Constantly 90 degrees now. If his team is gonna be on main, maybe he can take high ground, stay there. They've won the fight already, so he can actually move up. He's obviously lower rank, but really think about how you taking those 90 degrees can help you with a lot of pressure. And also if your timing is good, yeah, like your tank is distracting an enemy, this is especially gonna get you a lot of value. Notice his position here. He's like on the third point. He kind of was moving and then he moved towards the left. Yeah, like there, he ended up in this doorway, but this is still 90 degrees angle. This is 90 degrees angle. Also fine. He's abusing the fact that these guys are not looking at him as much. For that reason, he casts Transcendence. That's why he's kind of can be more aggressive. That's the main point of the timing. If they look at you, because your tank is there, then your team can get a lot of value. Just more 90 degrees. Don't want to be rotating towards this. Yeah, probably you would start near here. I think you can start here, kite towards this side if something happens, and then kind of keep leveraging this high ground. I think it's pretty decent. Maybe you can also start there, but I think that's a little bit too long range for you, so you don't have to. You can keep mid-range fights. Where do you expect the fight to be, and what kind of angle we can take?
The fight's gonna be right around where the like curve is.
Yeah. So it's kind of around here. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of angle should be taking?
Go down the stairs and like get behind them.
Either this or kind of here. You can leverage those positions. It's definitely harder to go here because it's gonna take a lot of time. But doing this second option, being in a building, this can work too, I think. There's also sort of 90 degrees. I think your range is gonna be slightly longer. Why do you go back exactly? Why do you not just keep shooting and staying here?
I think I saw the soldier and I was worried they were gonna all turn around and pounce on me, which I probably didn't need to worry about because my whole team was there.
Right, that's exactly what we gotta look at. Tank is in. If they turn around, your team kills everybody here. If they not, you get value. You still can get kills. If somebody can kill you, they have to do continuous damage. They have to shoot you multiple times. You also gotta be aware of the distance. So this, is it a safe distance to be away from this like Baptiste or like soldier? Can you be playing here technically? And like win the 1v1 potentially? How to win the 1v1 versus the soldier in this case? If we still wanna kind of keep this 90-degree angle, what do we can be doing?
So if he starts pushing forwards, I can back up kind of around to the right so that if he's facing up the stairs, I'm facing like directly towards him.
This can work. Anything else? What do we want to do with our mechanics?
I could also charge up a right click if he's coming for me because I can hear him and then hopefully one-shot him.
This is what we want to look at. You can take those duels as Zenyatta. If you have this one-shot threat potential, it's really doable. If you're getting nervous in those situations, of course, it can happen, but to overcome this anxiety, we want to, first of all, make sure we facing those situations more. Can take this duel there, try to one-shot him, try to pressure him away, keep your distance if you want to, but remember, you are mid-range character, kind of mid to long range, so use the effective range more. It's gonna be easier for you too. So if you want to shoot these guys, because they move this way, they wanna look like in this direction. If they're trying to strafe this way, it becomes easier for you to shoot. You also gotta think about what is your target priority there. Definitely thinking about the threats. If somebody is really threatening, really far forward, that can be your first priority. Notice the soldier is doing this exact thing. He's distracted with his people, so you can put your attention towards him this way, potentially one-shot him. Yeah? Make sure you're focusing on still what is more killable, more threatening potentially to your teammates, because even though you don't kill the soldier, you force him away, just because you discord him, your team can survive maybe. Should we be moving to other angle here potentially?
Yeah, probably, because they started falling back. Well, I guess like the optimal place to be, I guess that's kind of the other thing too, because it's like, I think optimally, I would have wanted to be in that kind of open courtyard area on the left, but it's also kind of a long way to get there.
Can we be in this building still?
Yeah, I guess that would also work.
There's a shorter rotation and still
Yeah.
90 degrees angle, relatively the same range. I would probably say this is even better. And then B position, because you're cutting off defensive rotation. That is something what you can think about as well when we are positioning Zenyatta, just making sure it's harder for the enemy team to kite because they're kiting this way, just if something happens, because you kind of maybe pincer them slightly, yeah, maybe even go from a back sometimes. You're gonna shoot from this direction here, and your team is gonna shoot from this direction, and now they're gonna be caught between two fires, and it's gonna be hard to run because of it. But if you at a position C, it's relatively easy to kite still, kind of go more backwards. But to go backwards from position A, if they do that, you can just catch them there on the street. How to understand when to take space, when not to take space? We gotta think about the numbers. This is just understanding about who has an advantage, who has disadvantage. All of this, it depends on multiple things. It can be depending on your resources, it can be depending on what kind of positions you have, what kind of ultimates you have. But to start understanding the tempo of the fight, just look at the numbers. When you look at this situation here, because we 5v4, you can definitely move up. And that's how you think about that. If there's an advantage, usually it translates to you taking space. If you're disadvantaged, then a lot of times it means you have to give up some space or hold certain positions. So kind of don't move forward that much because the enemy team, they're just gonna kill you otherwise. That's another part we've got to be tracking. To track this, just look at the kill feed, top right corner, or constantly think about, oh, are we in a 5v4? Are we like 4v4? Yeah, with every dash, if somebody is getting killed, you can track that potentially. What can be helpful as well is maybe enabling sounds too.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day where I was like, I think I should add the little ding when your teammates die.
Maybe add subtitles as well. Sometimes that can be helpful just to know the general situation of the field. For some people, it helps. If the enemy is pushing up a little bit forward, then this angle is okay. But then if they are pushing back, if your teams pushes forward, then taking the right building would make sense. Now this angle works though. See where the fight is gonna be. Think about that. And think about the 90 degrees angle which we can take.
Yeah, I should have gone up into the walkway instead. I thought they were going to get back a lot faster, to be honest, which is why I thought we were going to be fighting kind of around the staircase.
Remember, we gotta keep in mind where the robot is gonna get pushed as well. If you kind of expect the enemy team to get back fast, because I not expect the robot to get pushed that far, but still, it's usually better to be slightly ahead of the situation. So let's say you know the barricade is there. Definitely the 90 degrees angle would be at least like if I'm on the stairs here, or I can be slightly forward here. This is better. You're more prepared for this situation. You're more prepared for the upcoming fight. Trying to do something like that is really beneficial. Maybe you can even think if the fight is here, we can even look to flank and think about doing something like that. This is more risky, but you can try this, pushing your limits. This is more of a frontline corner. Too easy to dodge your shots, really long range, so mid-range, and notice this walkway there. Kill the Sojourn, kill the Kiriko, even deal with that soldier as well, so he is not gonna be able to take this power position in the middle. Good to see you taking those power positions. It's good to see you taking the angles. You still can be more consistent with that, but potentially increasing the quality of this, so you take in 90 degrees, and now it's also more mid-range. This is gonna be helpful. We can do the session, and then we can kind of talk about what's gonna happen in the game after. This map is cool. You have some interesting positions you can take as Zenyatta. Actually, kind of similar to the map which you played. So try this out, see what kind of spots you can take with 90 degrees angles. Yeah, mid to long range angles, kind of. Usually, because you expect the robot to be towards the right side of the building. Yeah, there's like a building in the middle, like a tower. That means you can take all the way left angle or something like that. Try to go there. This is gonna be your 90 degrees angle. Maybe you can also try to go all the way right, but this is I think it's not as good option because you're not cutting the enemy defensive rotation this way. And go towards the left side continuously. Try to aim there. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So see, this is just we want to keep playing corners. So you can take those angles, but make sure you're moving from corner to corner. You're moving from one cover to another cover. This is fine position. Yeah, this is good 90 degrees angle.
Well,
and
she's right
if
here.
they push you, you can just go back. But this is fine. Yeah, she's just feeding. Keep in mind your disadvantage because you lost some numbers. So keep kind of kiting, giving up some space, but you still can poke a little. Don't forget, you can also use your trance if something happens. Oh, We just moved up
Yeah.
too far. I think we could just stop there at the corner. If something happens, you can Transcendence, you can just right click, maybe kill them. Maybe you can think about, because she's there, she's facing you like
Jesus
this,
Christ.
it's gonna be harder to aim like face to face, so you can move slightly on another angle. Maybe stay in the high ground, I think it's good. There's gonna be 90 degrees angle here. If something happens, you can always use Transcendence, maybe help your team or help yourself. We have an advantage, so what we can do, we can maybe move up, because you just got 2 people. It's a 4v3, so we can move up a little. Think about 90 degrees angle still though. When you're moving up, 90 degrees, trying to, you know, keep the mid-range. What kind of angle could be better there?
Potentially going up to the stairs, but I get nervous like wandering in front of like the whole enemy team.
You have the range and your team is in front of you, so you can do that. You just always prioritize setting up. If something weird happens, notice why it happened. Maybe your rotation was not at the right time, but yeah, definitely leaning towards mid-range angles like this. The fight is gonna be at the corners, so make sure you set up to fight. I think you can even try to go to the left and flank, or like this way, yeah. This can also work. I like this angle, you just want to play closer to the corners, that's all.
Yeah.
This is just the next step you want to take. You're taking 90 degrees, this 90 degrees angle, like how you stand, they push you. Then you want to have the kind of piece of cover you can hide around. This is still good. See, it's so much easier for you to aim as well. I think you can kill him. You still almost killed him there. You probably want to play stairs and try to keep your crosshair on the head there a little bit more, but the pressure, how applying it from 90 degrees angle is definitely getting a lot of value. This is more like you behind your team yet. You want to go towards the 90. This is good. The enemy team just uses Kiriko ultimate, so that's fine. Just reset, take the next angle. You have your Transcendence, so you can even think about using it just for yourself if somebody pushes you. And I think you win it. Yeah.
We might.
Yeah, you will. You will win it. When you're kiting like that, by the way, keep an eye what kind of outer stress can kill you, because we open up to too many angles, then it can potentially just one-shot you from outer space. So let's say you cut in, like this, and we're going towards this corner, so we're not exposed to the Ash potential threat there. First of all, let's think about the how do we take angles and what are we trying to kill here, because we're trying to kill Ash. Let's say she knows that you're here. What kind of angle would be slightly better to take to deal with her? So it's like easier for you to kill her, so it's more 90 degrees angle.
Instead of going upstairs, so my thought was that I was going to try and do 2 things simultaneously, and then I did neither. Because my thought was like, well, the robot's like right there, so I should keep an eye on the robot. But that obviously they were looking directly at me, and I just started to think about it. So it would have been better to go down the stairs on the right instead, probably, because she's also, as soon as she's not looking at me, she's looking at the robot. So I'm suddenly more or less behind her. So that would have been probably a better option.
Yeah, and see, this is gonna be kind of more 90 degrees towards her, because you can choose what are you gonna shoot. If you shoot the robot, that makes sense while you're here, but if you want to shoot her, then taking this angle like this, and even doing this kind of rotation, you're taking more 90 degrees angle. Now it's easier for you to just get that one shot because they're trying to strafe against this angle here. Yeah, obviously the Ash is gonna kind of strafe this way, so it's like this. That's why even this position can work just fine, in my opinion. It's just gonna be a little bit more challenging to aim upwards, but it still can work. One more advantages of that is you can take this position after, so you can leverage it and just try to kill these guys there. Of course, be careful. So that's understanding the angles there, and generally speaking, we want to understand how to play around the high burst, potentially anything what can one-shot you. There is an important concept which you want to keep an eye on. Whenever you're playing against Widowmakers, whenever you play against Hanzos, we want to avoid double peeking from the same angle, because if they know where you are, they're gonna keep the crosshair on you, and because they're gonna keep the crosshair on you, then there's a big chance they kill you if you peek out. That's why I want to peek slightly different. So let's say now, when you're gonna fight this Ash and Soldier, because there's big potential to get the headshot from Ash and Helix rocket from that Soldier, they know you're here. You want to be kind of not double picking this, basically.
Yeah.
So you want to be, maybe for that exact reason, it makes sense to kind of start playing here and move all the way right to re-peek them. Maybe can make sense to do something like this, but it's really long rotation and short range, so I don't think it's too good. The longer range, mid-range kind of fights, that's what you want to take. It's gonna be useful against the characters like Hanzo, against the characters like Widow, because they can one-shot you, just change your angle slightly. If they know where you are, just move somewhere else. Move somewhere else. You can refig slightly different, because they keep the crosshair on this place, but you know that, let's say, Soldier and Ash there, but they keep the crosshair on this angle because you move there. You can easily kill them because you crosshair to that high ground instantly. But for them, it will require to do all this movement. And that's what we want to do in FPS shooter game. We want to throw an enemy, aim more, and make it easier for you to aim. To summarize, to make it easier to aim as Zenyatta, look to lean towards 90 degrees mid to long range angles. Think where the fight is gonna be and set up beforehand. In most cases, your tank should be actively distracting before you will look to do something actively on the map. Look to deal with what provides the biggest threat and easy to kill at the same time. Make sure to subscribe, and if you want to get coached in Overwatch, then you can find me on Matterify. I do free consultations for new students as well, and have a server where I help players for free. All links in the description.